Alright, for some odd reason, I thought the Tour De Fleece started this Monday. So apparently I'm already into day 4 and I haven't done any spinning until now. So I don't know if I would say I'm fashionably late to this whole entire thing, but at least this year I'm participating. Last year I completely forgot about it and then it passed and I wasn't able to spin anything. So without further ado, I will kind of give you an update as to what I'm trying to get done this year for the Tour De Fleece. And we'll start off with the first thing that's on my wheel. It's something that I started like a couple weeks ago. I went to the Wool Festival in Estes Park and I got some roving. I bought a fleece, even though I shouldn't really be buying any more fleeces. That fleece I am not going to process myself. I am going to have it spun up, but I did get a fleece returned to me in roving because it couldn't be spun up. So I think that's another one of my goals that I'll show you guys later when I get there. So without further ado, let's get to the first project that is on my wheel that I'm currently working on for day 4, or aka my day 1. So the first thing that's on my wheel is going to be 4 ounces of hand-dyed roving by LiQWYD. I have bought from them before, but it was nice to see them in person in Estes Park. Last time I got something from them was on Etsy. And this lovely blend is merino, silk, and cashmere, and it's in the colorway of Mesa. And I just really love how there's like these dark blues and beautiful tans and oranges and some gray. And so I'm just basically spinning up as thin as can be, which is my usual go-to. I like to spin frog's hair. And this will be a 2-ply when I'm done with it. So this is the first bobbin. It has about 2 ounces on the bobbin. I originally split the roving down the middle, but I started spinning some up and I noticed that I was trying to figure out which one I had started, so I weighed both of them and they weighed the same size. So clearly I did not split it very well. So I just added a little bit more onto this ball. So hopefully it'll be closer to whatever this one's weighing. Of course, I'll probably weigh it once I'm done finishing spinning up this bobbin. This bobbin that is here with this. But for the most part, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. I think I'll be fine. There won't be too much waste or anything, or I might be able to go back and kind of ply it from doing pull from the middle. Like I'll wind it into a center wind ball and then maybe be able to save whatever's left over if it's worth saving. So that first bobbin is done, and now I'm going to be spinning up this guy. Alright, so it is day 5 of the Tour De Fleece, and as you can see, I was showing this one yesterday. I've already completed that bobbin. I have about this much left of the cashmere silk merino blend, and I got a decent amount spun on yesterday, so I'm hoping to get even further on that today. Maybe even finish all this so that when I go to knit night tomorrow, instead of knitting, I'll bring my spinning wheel and maybe we can ply this together. So I'm spinning it with a Z ply, and then I will be plying with an S ply. That's kind of the speed that I have it at right now. Fairly, it's like medium high, I would say, medium low. So yeah, that's what I'm currently working on, so that's what I plan to do tonight. So it is now officially the 9th day of the Tour De Fleece, and this morning I just finished spinning up my second bobbin of my cashmere, silk, and merino blend. And so I'll be doing a 2-ply with this material. Oh, apparently I have a loop in this one. All right. But I'm gonna let it rest for like at least a couple hours before I attempt to ply. So yeah, it'll be a 2-ply. It'll probably be a lace weight at this point, but I'm glad I got this 4-ounce skein done. I found some other 6 ounces of fiber that I've had stashed away for a long time, and I think I'm just gonna have fun with it and try a new spinning technique. So I'm going to be doing an energized 3-ply with it, and I'll show you what those colors look like right now. So this is a fiber I guess I've had stashed for a couple of years. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with it. I believe it's 100% merino superwash wool. As you can see, they're kind of fun, funky colors. So I've grouped them, and though it doesn't look like they're the same size, this is just tightly wound. But they're all about 1 ounce each, these balls. If there was one that was slightly bigger, like this is 1.1, so this is 0.9. Just trying to even out any little slight discrepancies in weight for all these. So I'm going to be spinning at least 2 of these chunks up with an S twist, and then the last one will be a very super light Z twist, and then it will be plied Z twist. So that Z twist single will get more energy into it, while these other ones will balance out when spun with the Z ply, and they were spun singles as S plies. So plied with a Z ply. So that's my plan for these. I think I'm just going to randomly take, little bits of it, spin them up into small singles, and then maybe that way, because they're all paired with their different color, we might get overlaps of the same color in the ply, or we might get, overlaps of the different colors. And since it's a 3-ply, it might have even more variation. So it's just going to be like a fun ply just to use up this fiber that I've had stashed and turn it into a workable yarn. And then it just might be fun to experiment with all the different variations and colors that you can do as you're spinning up. So that's the next plan. I am going to start spinning up my S single, since I need 2 of those, and then I'll finish up with a Z single. But I'll probably spin up 1 bobbin first, and then that will give the other project that I'm working with that I've already spun up for single wise, they'll give it enough time to rest, and I can ply it so that way I can free up a few bobbins that way, because I only have about 4 bobbins for this whole entire Tour de Fleece extravaganza. So that's the next plan for this, and we'll get started on that soon. Today is Sunday, and so now I've actually spun up one of those groupings. So it's the kind of lime yellow and dark blue roving. So I've spun that up, but I only have 1 bobbin left now to work with here. So I am going to now, these have been sitting for about a day. I'm now going to spin these singles up to make a plied yarn and free up a few extra bobbins. And then once it's sat on the bobbin for a little bit, then I'll be able to wind it off and wash it. And then I'll have another bobbin free to finish up this fun little experiment of a yarn. So that is what I'm planning to do now. So it is day 14, I believe, of the Tour de Fleece, and I did finish plying up the cashmere, silk, and merino blend. I know my ply bobbins tend to get a little more messy than my singles. I tend to be better at switching the hooks and stuff, but it is finished. I will be winding it off sometime soon to wash it and log how many yards I've gotten off of it. But right now I am currently working on the singles of that 3-ply that I was planning to do. So here's the other combination of colors of the green, lime green, and a pink, and then it's going to be paired with this bobbin, which is already finished, and then eventually the third bobbin will be the blue and the pink together. So that's what I'm currently working on right now, and we'll get back to that. Good morning. It is day 17 of the Tour De Fleece, and I kind of wanted to update you on my progress. So here is the cashmere silk merino blend. It's finally spun up. I did wash it yesterday. I did a light soaking with wool wash, a non-rinse, and then I also did a quick beating on it in the bathtub just to kind of fluff it up a little bit because it is worsted spun. I need to count the yards on this guy. And then these are my last two color combinations, and I need to spin up for the 3-ply, the energized 3-ply. So this one will be spun with a slightly loose Z-twist, because I will be plying with the Z-twist, so I don't want to like over energize it and make it really kinky and weird. It's something that I'm, practicing a lot on. And I hope to get better at it, because these would probably make really good socks, because they'll be more resistant to wearing than a traditional 3-ply where it's spun all the same way with a twist and plied with the opposite twist. So that's the plan for right now, and as you can see, I have my bobbin all set up, and for the most part I have been spinning quite a bit this whole entire time. There's only been maybe 1 or 2 days where I've taken a rest. They might have not been on the actual rest days of the Tour De Fleece, but I can say for sure that I've definitely spent a lot more than I did last year. So just kind of happy that, I'm participating this year. Though I didn't join a group, I'm just, spinning for my own pleasure and trying to just do it for most of the 24 days I think that this is going on. So we're getting pretty close to the end. I think there's only maybe 7 more days. So I'm hoping I can at least get this done and plied up. And if I do get this done and plied up and still have time left, then I'll go on to my last project and then explain that to you guys. So today is the last day of the Tour De Fleece. It is the 24th, and I believe it probably ends around 12 at noon, wherever you are. So I only have like a few hours left. And honestly, I don't think I'm gonna get any more done because I've got to do chores and stuff like that. But I did get 2 skeins done. So one was a skein that I bought in Estes Park from this last wool festival. And then I also had another skein done from fiber that I found in my stash that has been in there for I don't know how many years now. And I decided I needed to do something with it. So last year I didn't even really do the Tour De Fleece or participate in it. So this year I'm kind of just happy that I was able to get a few things done. Didn't push myself too hard, except for the fact that I tried to spin almost every day after work, and work can be very tiring. So it's nice to have the electric wheel now just to be able to like sit and watch something and then also spin at the same time. So I'll show you those skeins really quick, and then I'll also show you what I was planning to start working on. And I did start spinning some of that up yesterday, but I think it's still going to be a project that I want to do now that we're done with the Tour De Fleece, and I can go into that a little bit more. But so here are the two skeins that I've done. I haven't counted the yards on it yet, so eventually, hopefully, maybe today or tomorrow or this week, I will get those counted so you know the total amount of yardage that I actually did spin. And I wasn't a serious Tour De Fleece person, so I mean, if you just try to allot some time after work, just do a little bit of spinning, you too can probably do what I've just done. It's just those little bits and times that, you know, you just find that you have time to do, or instead of just staring at the TV, you actually be somewhat productive, though it's okay to also not do anything else besides watch TV after a long, tiring day of work. So don't feel shame for doing self-care, okay? So these are the two skeins that I've completed. This one's still a little wet because I washed it yesterday. So it's not completely done drying. I'll probably rehang it again once I'm done talking to you guys. But so this was the merino cashmere silk braid here. It's a 2-ply. It's already been washed. I just need to actually count the yards on this as well. And then this was the 3 balls of roving that I found in my stash that I didn't know what I was going to do with, and honestly I just wanted to have fun. So as I was talking about it earlier, you didn't see much of the process. I spun 3 bobbins up, kind of with how I paired it, where, you know, one bobbin was like the green blue, the next one was the green pink, and then there was another bobbin that had blue pink on it. So in here, sometimes you'll get a couple strands that are the same color, but you always had one strand that was not the same color, so you'd at least get a little bit of contrast. But then there was quite a few times where you actually got like all 3 of the colors coming through. So it's just kind of like a fun, random spinning. I'm not sure if there's a certain technique that is called for, or I don't think it's fractal. But it's just kind of like a fun way to add variety to your skein, but working with only 3 colors and a 3-ply. So as you can see, it's a little kinky here and there, and that's because one of those singles was spun Z and I still plied Z, so it added a little extra twist to it. So it is an energized yarn. It's not super energized, I think. Let's see if I can just do this, if you guys can see this. Ignore the house. But it's actually pretty much open after I washed it, so there isn't like a huge amount of noticeable twist to it, but it is slightly energized, so you will get like little kinks and stuff in it. And so the reason why I wanted to try energize is because the first time I did it, I think I did over apply it. It kind of made a very interesting, fun, like tactile feeling, because it like really did weird stuff to the ply. But I wanted to try and make a more balanced energized twist, so it wasn't as crazy maybe to work with later. So I still don't know what I'm going to do with this. Maybe I'll use it for socks or something else, because energized twist is supposed to help with durability. And so if you make socks with it, usually it doesn't fray as fast as like a traditional 3-ply where you all spin all the singles one way and then ply the opposite way with those singles. So that's what it kind of looks like. And unfortunately the light isn't really doing it's like a kind of like a darker lime green, but it looks more yellow in the picture. But I think the blue and the pink is pretty true to color on camera. So I think the only thing is this lime green that isn't quite showing, but it's still like, it's like a fun color combination because you have like a dark strand, but then you have like these really light strands, and the pink is just like very saturated, so you see it throughout everything, even if it's just like a little bit with the 2 green strands. So that was that project. And of course, I need to count the yardage on this. And then my next project that I was going to do is I bought a Santa Cruz fleece a little while ago. I got it processed, and Unfortunately, the woman at the mill said it was probably one of the weakest fleece that she's ever worked with in a long time. So I'm like torn because it's not a good quality fleece, and like, should I be spending my time to spin all of it up because she couldn't even turn it into yarn. It wasn't strong enough to withstand the yarn making process of like a mill. But I have been able to spin it. And there's just like a lot of neps. And I try to make it as even as possible. And it's not terrible. I have tugged on the yarn a bit. I think it would hold, but it just doesn't really have like a nice sheen or luster to it. But it does kind of make, and this is knitted on like a size 4 needle. And it's more like a DK weight yarn. So probably like a size 6 or 7 needle would be better to show off this knitting. But it kind of makes like a fun rustic knit. And it's not like overly harsh on the skin either. So it could technically be next to skin like softness. But I have a whole couple pounds of this. And I was like, maybe I can make an outdoor kind of a sweater thing. Like just a basic sweater, and maybe that will help use it up. And I wouldn't feel so bad about this. But we'll see. So yeah, that's what I started spinning up. And this is the roving right here. As you can see, there's some veggie matter, which tends to fall out pretty easily. But then you get like those little nips, like here and here. And that's throughout, so it makes it kind of like an uneven spin. But then I plied it up like a chain ply. That's what I used. And it seems to even it out somewhat better. But as you can see, there's still bulky parts and stuff just where like the fiber has broken while it was getting processed. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a letdown, and like I wish I had known these things before I bought the fleece, but the shepherd was like very nice. And even though I was just telling her about these things, she gave me a refund. And that was really nice, but I still feel like very conflicted about it because they are an endangered sheep species and I want to support them somehow. So I might like maybe give a donation to the conservatory, Rare Breeds Conservatory Foundation or something that will help like preserve these rare breeds and stuff. But I thought I just should have let her know about how weak the fleece was because I don't know. I'm like, I don't know, maybe somebody can like chime in on this. But yes, some sheeps are like bred for fleece versus like meats or just anything else. But I mean, we have other sheep out there that are also endangered and don't produce a fine fleece that like it's not considered weak. I feel like weak is just maybe they're not taking care of like the fleece specifically for like hand spinners. And I feel like if you're going to be selling a fleece for a pretty good amount of money, you should also be taking care of that fleece so that it's like adequate and good for hand spinners. And that's just my opinion, and you guys could like burn me at the stake for that, but it's at least like, you know, have a disclosure that it's like, you know, we don't cover our fleece. You might want to blend this because it'll probably break down really easily on machines. There's going to be neps, like stuff like that, just so people are fully aware and disclose the information about this fleece and fleeces that you're going to sell that are like that. And I even asked like a wool forum, and they're just like, yeah, like you should let the shepherd know that it wasn't of good quality and like everything about that. So like I did ask like a forum like what I should do before I send her information. So I tried to break it to her as lightly as possible. But that was my ordeal. And so yeah, I'm kind of like that. I don't want this to go to waste, but also it's not a quality fleece to be working with. And it's like if you're going to spend that much time on it, I feel like it should be something that you're going to be happy with the end product That's all I'm saying, really. So here I am counting the yardage of my skeins. I don't have a yard counter, unfortunately, so basically I go through my skeins, count by 10, put a tick mark on a little post-it note, and basically count up my yardage afterwards. It's a 2-yard knitting knotty that I have, so I always times the amount of yards that I have by 2 to get the final amount of yardage. So for the Mesa skein, I got about 790 yards. So if you do the spin together, they tend to do things where if you spin a 2-ply yarn, you times it by 3 because it went through the orifice twice, it's spinning your singles, and then it went through the orifice once with the ply, so they technically count it 3 times the amount of your yardage for what you spun. So for that, with this one, since it was a 2-ply, I multiplied my final yardage by 3, so about 2,370 yards went through the orifice, and then for my energized 3-ply, I got 608 yards, so that was 2,432 yards that went through the orifice. Thus, a total of 4,802 yards was spun and sent through the orifice. I hope you guys all had a fun time for the Tour De Fleece, and if you liked it, please like and subscribe to this channel so I can bring you more material and media. As always, happy spinning, and I hope to see you guys next time.